All right, chapter 11, section 1, reading and writing to a text file. So to do that, we've already read input from the user, so reading it from the console, and then we've output information to the screen. But instead of doing that, this is going to be reading from a text file and writing to a text file. So we're very similar, except that to do the actual work, we're still going to use a scanner class. So scanner in equals new scanner, except instead of system in, which is the keyboard, we're going to use a file reader. So we'll have file reader, the file reader class, and we'll call it reader, equals a new file reader. And we would give it some sort of text name. So in this case, the string input.txt. Now that's only going to work if my project file and that text file are in the same folder. Otherwise, we'd have to give it the entire path. And then scanner in equals new scanner. In this case, instead of system in, we're going to use our reader object of the file reader class. And then it's going to go find that input.txt file, open it, and use that instead. When I write something, instead of system out, I use the print writer class, and we'll make an object of that. And we'll give it a file name as well. Now the nice thing is it will create that file if it does not already exist. The bad thing is if output.txt already exists, it overwrites everything that's in it. There's a little difference if you want to append to the end of a file. So, for instance, if I did the method commands out.println 29.95, out.println the string hello world, and I wouldn't open up the text file, those two lines would be in there. Now the trick is have to close all files. Anytime you open one, you have to close it. Okay. If you don't, you could get errors, that sort of thing. So just always get in the habit of closing a file. Now, if you go and look at page 499, we have line number.java, the tutorial, which takes an input file and then adds line numbers to it, to each line in the file. So hopefully you have written that, and we'll kind of just walk through what it does. The first thing to notice is that it says public static void main, and then my main string args has this new line, throws file not found exception. That's a very important thing. The computer will generate a file not found exception, or generate a problem if it goes to open your input file and it's not there. All right, and you have to tell the computer what you want it to do in that case. We'll get into this a little later in the chapter, but for now, having a method, for instance, main, that throws an exception, that means if there's a problem, kill the whole thing. In this case, it's going to kill the main method, so it's going to kill the entire program. I could write that throws exception onto another method, and it would kill whatever method it's the throws statement is on, if that, in fact, that generates that problem. So this method, so in this case, line number, the entire thing, will close if the input file doesn't exist. So line 11, I create a console for the scanner using system in, so receiving input from the user. I create an output, I print, to the screen, give me the input file name, and then I save my input file name as a string in the console.next, so I get the whole next line to the enter. And then I create a print to the screen, give me the output file name, and I save the output file name as a string. And then what I do is I create a file reader, with the input file name string as my input file. I create a scanner class with that reader as my parameter. Create a print writer with the parameter being my output file name. And I start with my local variable line number starting at 1. And then while in has next line, which is a method that looks ahead so you don't run out of the end of your file and try to print into areas that you're not allowed to print on. So while I have another line left, get my line, so in.nextLine, give me the whole line, save it as my string called line, and write on my output add a slash asterisk, the current line number, slash asterisk, and my line. So for instance, if my first line was, Mary had a little lamb, then after I get done with the first go through, it would end up looking like this. My output file. So it's going to go through the whole thing and do that to it. And then my very last statement is close my output file. So that is 11.1, input and output. Remember, for now, throwing an exception if the file isn't found means killing the program. Just remember that to make sure that you close your input and output files.